Kiko, since you've experienced quite a bit, do you have any advice to avoid some of the things you may regret? I'm still young, but already find myself in fear about not getting anywhere in adulthood. That's a very broad question. But I think in the bigger picture, I think the main reason why I struggled a lot in my life, to sum it up, I think it boils down to probably two things. First, caring too much about what other people may think of me. Spending too much of my energy, my effort, my mental energy, my mental effort too, into thinking about what other people may think of me. Second is believing blindly and falsely and delusionally believing that anyone is capable of doing anything. Anyone is capable of becoming anything. It's just not true. It's just not scientifically, factually true. We all have different strengths, and some people, unfortunately, are smarter than other people. And I used to believe that I am smart. I used to believe that I'm capable of succeeding in anything if I put enough hard work into it, but it wasn't, at least for me personally, it wasn't true. So you gotta find what you may be good at, and you actually may not be able to find what you're good at, because it's also, I don't think it's factually true that everyone has something that they're good at. I don't think it's statistically true. No, it's basically saying like, oh, we are all equal. Like, we all have equal intelligence. We're all capable of like making out to be like an NBA star if we try hard enough. So you may actually, just like me, you may be someone who may not be good at anything, and that's okay. But if that's the case, try to find something you might actually be average at. And if you still struggle with that too, try to find something you can at least tolerate doing for the rest of your life. And that's how I found my career, and that's when the breakthrough happened. When actually I was able to admit to myself that I'm not smart enough, and that's okay. And no matter how hard I may work, there are some things I cannot achieve, and that's okay too. When that realization occurred, that's when I started to look the other way and tried considering other possible careers and avenues that I might try. So previously, in my 20s, when I still was blind to this idea that like anyone can become anything, I deluded myself with this belief that I could become a medical doctor. I could get into medical school. But that wasn't true. That I was not good at science classes. I was not good at any of those prereqs that you need to take in order for you to apply to med school. I failed organic chemistry 2 times, and I was able to pass the 3rd time. And I really, really tried hard, but I just wasn't good at it. I just couldn't do it. But the thing was that I was still stuck with this belief that, like, this mentality that, like, if I put in enough effort, I should be able to do it. But I wasn't able to do it, so I was so confused. Like, why can't I do it if I put in enough effort? Back in high school, I was able to do it. If I put in enough effort, I was able to ace all my classes. That's how I was able to get good GPA and get into good school like UC Berkeley. But then, somehow, all of a sudden, once I was in college, that belief did not hold true anymore. When that belief did not hold true anymore, I started to ask myself, actually, is that belief still true? Or is it because I'm not putting in enough effort? And I just somehow still was in denial and wanted to believe that the latter is true. So I tried my best to put in even more effort, try even harder than I did in high school. And still, it did not go anywhere. I still could not pass those freaking OChem classes. And at best, I was like a B or C student. I was barely able to pass the class when I tried hard enough, or tried harder. While seeing all these other students or like my friends that did not really, they did try, but like they did not try as hard as I did. But they were still able to like go to parties and have fun in college, and still able to ace those classes, those hard like science courses, and get into med school. Sorry, I got disconnected there. But long story short, yeah, like I would encourage you to like be more open-minded. Don't blindly follow this motivational quotes that somehow anyone is capable of doing anything. That's just not true. It's not going to be true. I may sound like very pessimistic and cynical, but at least in my personal experience, the main reason why I struggled so much was because I blindly followed that mantra that anyone's capable of doing anything. But once I let that go, yeah, I was able to like make a breakthrough and actually like, yeah, find something else. Realize there's other options out there. Like there is jobs out there that's not like doctor, that's not a lawyer. These like lucrative, prestigious jobs, there's still other jobs out there that I actually might be able to do. Because like growing up, like I kind of was brainwashed into believing that any job other than these white collar jobs like lawyer, pharmacist, dentist, or medical doctor, those jobs like all suck and they're like peasant jobs. That's what my dad made me into to believe. So always considering any other job wasn't an option for me. It didn't exist in my world, right? So it made me into this person to be really with this really narrow mindset that, oh, all these other jobs, they don't exist. If I take those jobs, I'm going to be a peasant. I'm going to be looked down, right? My dad would always tell me like, oh, like unless you hold these kind of jobs, people are gonna look down on you. You're going to be regarded as not important. You're going to be dismissed. People are not gonna consider you, think highly of you. They're going to like ignore you. They're not gonna take you seriously. So he like fed me all these like nonsensible, ridiculous, very flawed and one-sided and just narrow-minded beliefs. And when you are fed those beliefs at such a young age, it's hard to let go. It becomes part of you. It becomes who you are, right? So I believed I had this like really weird, kind of really messed up mentality that like I just must become a doctor. Doctor or no job. But any job is better than no job. I mean, I don't know if it still applies to the current economy, but having a job is better than having no job. Having some income, some kind of income, is better than no income, right? At least you can become something. You don't, even if you don't become a doctor or lawyer or some kind of like lucrative career, you still become something. And becoming something is better than becoming nothing. And in my 20s, in my early 30s, I was nothing. I was turning myself into becoming nothing because I was not willing to look elsewhere. I was not willing to look past these lucrative, prestigious jobs. I was not willing to give myself a chance to actually be okay with, having these doctor or non-lawyer jobs. And once I was able to let it go, I finally found something that I actually like. Isn't that wild? I'm still here. I'm still surviving. At least, even if I can't afford rent. But at least, like, I'm not, like, asking my parents for money, like, at this age. Because that's what I was doing when I was in my 20s and early 30s. I would hold these, like, weird jobs and I didn't like, and it was all part-time jobs, and sometimes, like I would have to, like there was like periods of time in my life where when I did not have any job, and I would have to ask my parents for money, and it doesn't feel nice for me to have to like ask for money like at that age, right? For me to like be a burden to them financially. I mean, still being a burden somewhat because I'm still staying with them. That's why I'm trying to help them out by at least like paying utilities, right? But still, like, I'm in a better shape now than I was before. And how was I able to like transition from like who I was back then to, who I am now? I'm in a much better place, I believe, right?